Boom, we are live.
All
All
right.
right. So we are live with Miss Tiki Curry. What's going on, girl? How you doing
Nothing
today?
much. Glad it's Friday. Glad it's
I
Friday.
know. Yeah, it's been a week. I know, at least for me it was, and you're in a group, so one day I was just kind of like challenged mentally, and then I had to go into the office, which is like weird now.
Right,
And
right.
so weird to like get in the car and drive to work now. It's just so crazy. Um, but yeah, it's been a weird week. And then of course, as you already know, like just all the hate and stuff that's just been spewing after the whole K Harris selection. So yeah, it's been eventful, that's for sure. But we got Tiki Curry on, y'all. I've been trying to get Tiki on here for a minute. Uh because she put a phenomenal post in the group where one of our members who is married to a black man, and she was just kind of struggling with, she felt like she couldn't relate to a lot of the issues that black people have or go through it, particularly black women, because she's not black. And she was just kind of feeling bad that she wouldn't be able to give her black husband, the support and such that he needs. And Tiki came on and left a phenomenal post. Should I read it, Tiki?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. She says, okay, well, this is what Christy left. All right. It was Christy Flennert, and I hope she don't mind me sharing it. She says, okay, here it goes. I've always dated black men since I was 15. I've been told that black females to leave their men alone. She's been told by black females to leave her black men alone. That all the good men are taken by white girls like me, that I need to take my white ass on somewhere. One time at the Soul Inn in Tuskegee, um, a handful of black girls blocked the stall and told me to take my white ass home if I knew what was best for me. For the most part, I haven't let it get to me. A couple of months ago, I read a random stranger's Facebook post that said, nobody can love a black man like a black woman. A Facebook friend shared the post, and so many Facebook friends liked it, loved it, commented, and supported it. Y'all, it has shaken me to the core. I discussed it with my husband, and as usual, he dismissed it as jealousy. But here we are, 2.5 months later, and I can't stop thinking about it. How can I love him the same way as someone who has dealt with the exact same struggles? I can sympathize, but can I really empathize? For almost 20 years, I've been a solid, supportive partner, his ride or die. Us against the world. My heart hurts thinking I could somehow be depriving him of an even deeper love that I simply cannot provide. So that was deep. And I don't have what you replied to, but it was so beautiful. Do you remember kind of like what you said in a
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
Yes. Before I chimed in, a lot of the other members were, was reassuring her, that, she knows how to love her husband.
Right,
And I just wanted to let her know where the misdirected anger was coming from.
right,
Just to give a backstory of just the things that we've seen or have experienced or been exposed to as Black women from a child all the way up.
mhm,
So um, I did a little background check on her, and like I thought before, she is from my same hometown. We're just probably like 5 years apart. So I
right,
think she could relate when I tell her, like, when we were growing up, what we always saw, especially in magazines, on television, on videos and movies and this, that, and the other,
mhm,
what was more acceptable for the cameras or even for our men, period, was light, bright, down there white is what they used to say,
right,
if you wasn't white or close to white,
right,
you was not the prize.
right,
And
right,
so all we saw was when our black men became successful. You saw the celebrities with the white women on their arms, or the exotic women, different
Right.
nationalities, or biracial, but it was never like somebody that looked like their mother,
Mhm.
you know,
Right.
or their
Right.
sister.
Right.
And so with her, being on a college campus, you're amongst other women who are going to be educated, successful in life, this and the other. But I'm not going to have a chance with this black man because people like you keep coming in and sweeping them up when you got
Mhm.
all these white guys that you can marry.
Right.
So, that's the mentality because it has been embedded for so many years.
Mhm.
They are better.
Right.
And so it was just, it's a lot of unraveling, a lot of undoing that a lot of women have to go through. It's just brokenness. And like I was telling her, it's misdirected anger.
Mhm.
Now, that statement that had um, messed with her psyche, it was a very broad statement. Um, and generally speaking, yes, a black woman can more empathize with a black man just because we've gone through the same things, we've been brought up in the same house, we come from the same culture and everything. But nobody could ever love your spouse better or more than you can love your spouse. I don't care if you're green, yellow, and you married a black, red, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Um, can't nobody love my husband the way I love my husband, nor hers,
Mhm.
regardless of the color. So I
Mhm.
just wanted to reassure her from a standpoint, not just saying only you can love your husband the way your husband needs to be loved, but let me tell you where that came from so that you can go ahead and push that over in the corner, pray for the people,
Mhm.
because it's brokenness. They
Right.
just got to heal from the brokenness.
Right.
So don't take it personally,
Right.
or let it take you to a place that it took you for. You're sitting around here for 2 months, just going to a place, probably shrinking into somebody where your husband doesn't need you to be.
Right.
You're shrinking yourself into this hole, and he needs you to be whole.
Right.
So I was just trying to help from that perspective.
And I
Um,
and what I liked about that was number one, man, that post was just so deep and so real to me. You know what I'm saying? And I
right,
appreciate her even being that transparent. Then as a black man, I felt like I couldn't really offer good advice because I'm on the man side. You know what I'm saying? And so
right,
this time then from the black female side, and when you broke it down like that, like where the anger is coming from, she really appreciated that. I mean, man, she raved on you ever since that post, man. And then that's
hmm
when I came in and was like, all right, Tiki, we got to get you on the interview, and you was like, what, me? But but I appreciated that because I feel like in order to tackle this whole racism issue, we first have to understand as much about it as we possibly can. You know what I'm saying?
right,
If
right,
we got to dig deep, which is why I created blended lines. We have to be sensible and willing to listen, right? And that's what blended lines does is we have a whole bunch of people in there who are respectful, who love each other, who want to become educated and look at things from different perspectives. And that's what Tiki did, was she brought a different perspective from a black woman. And when she broke it down like that, man, she was just the other young lady was just so grateful. And you could tell she genuinely felt better about the whole situation.
hmm
And so I appreciate you just putting it out there, man, and letting her see from a black woman's perspective. And I also agree with you that, and I say this all the time, opinions are like assholes. You know what I'm saying? Excuse my French. Like, you can't live your life trying to please everybody, or you would be the most miserable person on the planet, you know?
correct.
So thank you for diving into that. I wanted to touch on that because that's what led to this interview, was just that epic post that you put out there. So let's go ahead. Just tell me a little bit about yourself and what led you to Blended Lines.
Well, I am a 40-something-year-old, and I have been living in Birmingham for, I guess, about 23 years by way of Silicaga, Alabama, down the street in 280.
Okay.
But I've been a lot of places because I grew up an army brat, so I've been to several different places, even to Germany. But I've been to Birmingham for about 23 years, and I've been married for almost 8. And just pretty much coming from, we're going to get into mental illness, mental health and all of that, but just coming from a place of brokenness myself and trying to find a place, I just really just explored what Tiki could do. And
Mm,
that's what I've been doing with my life.
mm,
And I just pray every day, every day I get up and confess, Lord, thank you for blessing me and for allowing me
mm.
to be a blessing. So
Yeah,
that's what
right.
I try to do daily. So that's the gist of who I
Okay. And how did you find out about blended lines? Who invited you?
am. Tracy, from Silicon. Well, it's a lot of hometown people in the group, and
Okay.
so a hometown friend, he invited me to the
Okay.
page,
Okay.
and so I've been enjoying it ever since.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
like to find out because I'm gonna be honest. I don't know half the people in the group. Well, I do now because it's just crazy how close we're getting, but yet we haven't met each other in person. You know what I'm saying?
right, right,
I mean, I truly feel like I have a bunch of family members now that I really feel close to. And it's just so wild that we haven't met each other personally. It's all been through Facebook, but you can feel the love there.
right,
And, so, look, you touched on one of my big things, which is mental health. I'm a mental health advocate because I too had I just be real with folks, like a mental breakdown last year, and I think a lot of it just came from being a people pleaser, putting everybody else before myself. Work, family, just burnout. You know what I'm saying? It just
right,
all just came to one crashing point, and I just felt like the weight of the world was on my shoulders, and I just literally like couldn't take it. And so it was rough, and I was in a very low, dark place. But thank God for psychiatrists and therapists, uh,
right.
medication. I ain't hating on the medication either. And through all of that, and prayer and my relationship with God, of course, because I had to do some self exploring too. And that's the thing that got me out of it, man, was like I lost reality with who Cliff was. I didn't know
Mm-hmm.
what Cliff enjoyed. I didn't know what Cliff hobbies were. I wasn't really loving Cliff. So I had to get back to that. But I will say, when I got back, man, I was so much better than the old Cliff. And I was
Right, right,
grown, and I knew what I believed in and my values, and I went moving on it. So it made me the uh extraordinarily confident person that I am today, right? So let's dive into the mental health aspect. I know that you are big into exercise, which I am too. That played a very important role into bringing me out of my struggles. So let's talk about exercise and what it did for you, and anything that you're comfortable with sharing from a mental health
mhm.
aspect. Share that as well about what you went through, if you don't
Oh
mind.
yeah, not at all, not at all. Well, I am a former athlete, and so I guess that comes with exercise, comes with the territory.
Right.
And then I want to say it might have been 2010. I just wanted to do something different, so I found myself getting caught up in distant running, and never thought I would love something like that. I did track, but straight sprinting, this and the
Yeah.
other. But I come to love it because of the free. I called it free therapy because it really released those endorphins and this, that, and the other.
Uh,
But after about 4 years or so, I just kept getting injury after injury, and
mm.
something that I love doing, I couldn't do anymore, and I went into a funk. And when I say funk, I was there for like 6 years, to the
Ooh.
point where I really wasn't exercising. I blew up in my weight.
Mhm.
And then having other ailments and having to take medication that didn't help the situation. And so I want to say this past December, a dear friend of mine passed away, and I got into a funk,
Mhm,
a deeper funk, I guess you could say. And
mhm,
so, and come came January, some of my outlet was just I wasn't sleeping, and so my outlet
mhm,
was just to get on up, and it was like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, just get up, and I'll come downstairs and I'll get on the treadmill,
mhm,
and it just allowed me some free time to think. I would
mhm,
take that time to go and listen to sermons on YouTube while
mhm,
walking, this, that, and the other. So I was just walking for about 2 or 3 months, actually up until May. And then a friend of mine shared a Facebook Live post of this fitness studio out of Atlanta, and I was watching it, and I was like, this looked like my kind of team to be on. So I started doing the exercises since I was already up in the mornings. They're 4:30 my time, so I'm at 3 o'clock anyway on the treadmill. So I'll stop, do the class, and get back on the treadmill. Well, when I saw how hard they were going, I knew that I had to make changes in my diet in order to get the results that I wanted, because I knew food played a big part. So
mhm,
from May up until today, if some people on in our group are Facebook friends of mine, but I've been taking people along a journey with me. So
mhm.
every month, every morning, Monday through Friday, I share a part of my workout. I've shared a journey, my weight loss journey. I've lost 35 pounds since May.
Awesome.
And yeah, and I've been a part of some other workout groups or fitness group, just trying to encourage and motivate others. But it helped me, um exercise, and helped me mentally get to a place where I need to get, so I can get stronger spiritually too.
Right.
um and so that helped me to get to a place where I'm happier with myself, not just with the way that I look, but the
Mhm,
way that I feel, the way that my mind is going. Like you, I was a people pleaser,
mhm.
involved with a lot of stuff, experienced burnout to the place of breakdown, because I have like a handful of ladies that I can call. I'm crying like, I'm about to have a breakdown, I'm about to have a breakdown. She said, no, we're not about to have a breakdown. What we're about to do is pray and blah blah blah. So I
Right.
love my circle, but
Right.
but it came to a place where I said, okay, Tiki, you got to sit down. um all my life I've always been in, and not that I have stepped up to it, but I've always been in a place of leadership. People
Okay.
have just been drawn to me. It's like, you would be a good person to do this. And so I always just stepped up to the challenge. It wasn't
Mhm.
anything I raised my hand to do. So I always
Right.
stepped up to the challenge. And when I go in, I go hard
Right.
to the point where I may neglect other things,
Mhm.
even sleep myself. And
Right.
so I was intentionally letting go of things slowly. And even though this virus has kind of shut the world down and it's been bad for a lot of people,
Mhm.
I gotta say it blessed me, on
Right.
the flip side, because
Right.
it gave me rest. It
Mhm.
gave me time to find myself. It gave me time to um instead of walking away from things too soon because God didn't tell me to walk away, it just gave me time to sit and pause, you
Mhm.
know,
Mhm.
until I hear him tell me what my next move is.
Right.
So this exercise thing has been a blessing to me, because me sharing my journey, I've gained um, accountability partners just from
Mhm.
people, like when the mornings when I don't want to wake up, Susie is waiting for me to get up so she can get up. So
Right.
I get my tail on up.
Right.
So
Right.
it's been I know I've been a blessing to other people, but they have really been a blessing to me. And so just eating healthier and taking
Yeah.
care of myself, I am really I think I am handling this quarantine pretty well.
Yeah. It's wow, man. We have a lot more in common than I thought. Uh Man, that's crazy. This is why I like doing these interviews. One of the reasons why I like doing these interviews is number one, I said that I want to get to know my members on a more personal level. I mean, we
Right.
could talk in Facebook all day, but I don't like reading through posts. you can't really pick up on emotions through a post, but when I see somebody and I can read body language, I can really tell like where they heart at and what kind of person he is. So that's why one reason I like to do this. The other reason is so the group will know more about that individual as well. Now, I love that you talked about accountability because it is so important. And just on a side note, I don't know if you can see the comments over on your end, but a lot of people want in on your videos. It,
Oh,
it,
okay.
yeah, a lot of people. So after this interview, you may want to share your information because people in here talking about they want to lose weight and everything. So,
Okay.
but yeah, and that's what the group is about, man. Is making each other better. Cam, can you go get that pizza? Uh, I too, that's what I like about this group is the accountability aspect. So I'll use my own example this week. As you already know, Wednesday was challenging for me mentally. I've been doing good. You know what I'm saying? I like you. I work out every day. I'm using this quarantine um, to sit still, as you said, and work out every day. I work out every day, and I want to make sure that I utilize my time as best I can. And so I'm taking advantage of this downtime to get stronger, both mentally and physically,
Right.
because I know right now we're kind of like in an uphill battle, man. And when I say we, I mean all people who are for the good, not just black people, but the people who are standing with us. This racism thing has many, many layers, as you already know. And it's gonna be a battle, man. And I need all the family to be both strong mentally and physically. All right. And so that's why I do the weekly challenges too. So we've done everything from meditation to working out 30 minutes a day because I'm using my examples, my own personal examples, to try to get people stronger. So
Hmm.
with that being said, um, let's talk about more of the being a strong black woman. And that's one thing that I love about you is you're a strong black woman. I'm married to a strong black woman. And so with this week, we know that Biden made his selection with Kay Harris. I say Kay because I always forget how to pronounce her name. So Kay Harris is the vice president nominee, and the amount of hate on Facebook right now is at an all-time high. And she not just catching it from white people, she catching it from black people too, because they saying some are saying that they're pissed off that she was a prosecutor and she put a bunch of black men in jail. They're pissed off that and I don't know how they come up with this, that she's not not black, all right, because her father is Jamaican and her mom, I think, is Indian. So, you being a black woman, just share some of the struggles that you've gone through as a black female. Because when I hear black female, I think of two things. You already got one thing against you because you're black, and the other thing against you is you're a female, so it's like a double whammy. So, let's talk about that, man. Do you think she's being attacked because she's a black female, or do you think it may be something else?
I think it's some of everything. Um,
Yeah.
um, and it's coming from different people. To some people it is because she's a black woman. Don't care for black women. Some people
Mhm.
it's because of her history, and I think a lot of that her history has not been really vetted or researched by people who are making comments.
Mhm. Right,
But I don't want to get into that. But
right.
and then being a woman, we are still fighting, even though we have seats at the table, we still fighting to be heard at the table.
Mhm.
Um, or if we're heard, or if we have a voice at the table, we don't really have it's not of importance or of urgency.
Mhm.
Um, as a matter of fact, until recently, nobody even cared, to be honest.
Mhm.
Um, and I'll just take my work for example.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say work, I'm talking about from the time I became an adult and working up until now.
Okay.
I remember the very first experience of having that unequal, um, knowing that I am an unequal in the workforce was the company that I was working for. I was there handling my business. I was getting kudos. My numbers were high. I was,
Mhm.
being put on projects and this, that, and the other. And it came to a place where they were beginning to downsize. But in order to save some money and to save jobs, they was like, okay, we're going to cut pay by 10% if you make, a certain amount. And
Mhm.
so, and I was like, well, they ain't paying me that much, so it ain't gonna, hurt me one way or the
Mhm.
other.
Right.
But just having, we ran the what they call the cooler chat, whatever
Yeah.
I forget the term they call it, but it was other ladies that I work with talking about, can you believe they're about to cut us and this, that, and the other? And I looked, I was like, wait a minute, I done been to school, I got a degree.
Mhm.
Um, like I said, I have been the person who's been pulled for projects because my numbers are high. I train other individuals, this and the other.
Mhm.
And you came straight out of high school. You barely come to work. When you're at work, you're barely, you're not even meeting satisfactory or whatever. And I'm like,
Mhm.
and there was several other white women, you
Mhm.
know, like the one from high school, the one who was at home for a long time. Now her child's going to school. Now she's coming out. I'm like, well, when you made this offer to me at this job, this is the starting salary. You say it.
Mhm.
And after all these years with the annual increase, I still didn't make it to a place where these people who are subpar at work doesn't have the credentials that I have. I'm making way more than I am.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I already knew that men make more,
Right.
but we are at the bottom of the
Right.
totem pole.
Right.
And so that was like my first adult experience in corporate America as a
Mhm.
black woman. And then
Mhm.
even to today, and you had complimented my hair earlier.
Mhm.
So we have had a conversations on the page about hair
Yeah.
appropriation and all this or
Right.
whatever.
Yep.
So for the most part, we as black women, our hair has not been considered uh, groomed, appropriate, and
Mhm.
this is like how our hair grow out our hair. And
Mhm.
so we have resorted to relaxers,
Mhm.
weaves, and wigs, not only to fit in, but to fit the part and look appropriate for your office.
Mhm.
Now, I was natural back in the late 90s, early 2000s, and I went back to the relaxers, but relaxers don't pair well with my skin, my scalp. I've had injuries, burns, and this, that, and the other, trying to straighten my hair. And I was like, okay, enough is enough.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
cut all my hair off. And I remember wanting to interview for a job, and I was like, ugh, they're probably gonna see me before they see me,
Right.
and
Yep. Yep.
before they get to hear my voice. So I may need to purchase this wig. Why
Wow.
do I have to do that? You know what I'm saying?
Wow. Yeah.
And so, but it's gotten to a place where I'm like, you know what?
Right.
Forget it. I know
Right.
how to look presentable. I come to work neat. I
Mhm.
don't have my hair looking any kind of way. This is what I like. This is how my hair grows,
Mhm.
and I am in my immediate office is six of us, and two of us are black, the rest of us are white. Rest of them are
Mhm.
white. And so when I come to the office with different hairstyles, they're looking like, okay, where's that? Is that, is that a wig? Is that a wig? So I got to break down, what it
Right.
is, this and the other, if I'm trying different things. But this is all before I decided to say, forget everybody else, I'm going to do me. So there will be times where I come in with my short crop, my natural crop.
Hmm.
Nobody says a thing. I come in with a wig that's straight bobbish and long, or some real curly. Oh, I like that. That's real pretty. And I'm like, I'm not wearing it tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Just because I got that, just because I
Right,
got that,
right,
I'm not wearing it
right,
tomorrow.
right.
I'm coming back as me.
Right. That's so funny. Yeah,
I was
no,
like, oh,
that's that is so crazy. I remember we had this discussion in Blended Lines, but I didn't even think about it from that perspective. I mean, I know I've seen things in the news with dreads, like I know corporate America had a big issue with dreads, most still do. And but that's crazy that, yeah, I guess a lot of the reason why people or black women, and see, my wife is a hairstylist, and I think she's looking on here now. But I guess that's why a lot of black women started wearing wigs and getting relaxers, was because uh it wasn't accepted in corporate America.
right,
I didn't even think about that. That is wild. Luckily, we're at a place now where I think most companies have become a little bit more open
mhm.
for allowing people to wear dreads. I know at my previous employer, which was and you know what employer that it was,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
they started letting people come in and had dreads. I knew one of them, a guy that worked there who had dreads, but even when he was interviewing for other jobs, there was always a fear that that will be looked at. And if he didn't get the job, it was always in the back of his mind, like, I bet I didn't get it because I had dreads,
Mhm.
and that's unfortunate, man. But kudos to you for just loving who you are and just being like, screw it, man. If you don't like me for who I am, then I don't need to be working there anyway. Um,
Mhm.
Somebody did post a question here when you were talking about your story. So, what did you do about the pay disparity when you were at that company?
Well, at that point, like I said, they were in the process of downsizing. That was one of the ways they was trying to save jobs, but we knew the end was coming.
Mm,
And so at that point, I was trying to look for other employment anyway.
mm,
Um, I ended up getting laid off, but it came with a severance package. And that was another thing too. I was like, well, these itches gonna pay me. They're gonna give me my money. When I leave, I'm gonna stay here and get my package.
right,
I don't work. I
right,
don't
right,
slave for you while these other people have
right,
they drug their feet. You gonna give me my money. And
right,
so, but yeah, but had it been a place where I could have seen myself there for the foreseeable future, yeah, I would have went to. Let me tell you this. There was we had a black supervisor. They made more than she did. They made more than she did.
uh,
Hello? Are you frozen? I'm frozen. You frozen?
uh,
Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Cliff?
really?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, I can hear you. Okay, there we go. That's better.
Okay. Yeah,
Go
but
ahead.
but they made more than she did. And she was in a position higher than us. So I'm just
So
like,
let me ask
okay,
you this:
yeah. Mhm.
do you think that situation is what kind of leads to the criticism that that group member was getting at Tuskegee? Because do you think, like, in a situation like that where the white women clearly have an advantage, all right, in the corporate world, do you think that kind of adds to some of the frustration that black women have when black men date white women?
Yeah, because it's adding to we keep getting pushed further and further down. Like it's we're getting stepped on. It's like, okay, we're up here trying to be the backbone for everybody. We fighting for our men, we fighting for women, which include all races,
Right.
but we're on the bottom of the cheerleader pyramid holding up everybody. We're
Wow.
always the base,
Yeah.
we're never at the point, holding up IV for victory, so
Right.
it so it's like I said, it's just a lot of layers.
Yeah.
You just can't look at one thing from, oh, she just jealous, oh, she just hating. There's a lot of undoing that we gotta get from to get to a place where we can say, hey, I know this is happening to us, but this doesn't define us,
Right.
and that's why I was letting, I think her name was Christy, know, that was just misdirected anger.
Right. Dude, that is wow. That makes so much sense, man. And see, I'm glad we're talking about this because I feel like black women get a bad rap as far as how strong they are. I mean, I know you've heard references like, black women, they mean, or, they don't play. Well, look at what they're going through. You know what I'm saying? Like your story in corporate America. We can go back to slavery where, they were raped by the masters, but still expected to cook their food, take care of their children, you know what I'm saying? And act like nothing ever happened. So, I mean, I personally love uh, my strong black wife. I've always liked black women because that strength. I mean, my mom is a strong black woman, and that's always been attractive to me, and I love it. I don't like a weak woman. Um, and so I just want people to understand that if you do have a misconception that black women are always like pissed off or they don't play, that's a lot of it. I mean, black women have gone through a lot. Women in general have gone through a lot. All right. We already know that. But then if you're black and you're a woman, I feel like, and this is Cliff talking, that it's a double whammy. You know what I'm saying? And you're right. Black women are there for the men and our struggles. All right. If it wasn't for my wife, man, she has been my rock. When at my weakest point, I could go to my wife and talk to her, and she would build me up. If I didn't have that, God knows where I'd be. You know what I'm saying? But
Right.
I just want people to realize black women are strong for a reason. And those are just a few that you shared right there. What is, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, but what do you think is like the worst racist thing that you've experienced as a black woman?
The word.
The worst.
Ooh, Cliff.
I know.
You
I
know
put
how you just normalize stuff so much that you just, when things happen, you just like, whatever, and just go on. Um, what?
and
Oh, well, it wasn't anything that took me down, but it just opened my eyes to how a lot of white people think.
okay.
So there's this white uh, man that works for the company that I work for.
Hmm.
But before that, we had a history when I was at Montevallo.
Hmm.
I went to Montevallo. He was
Yeah.
actually my first boss. I was doing, I worked on campus,
Hmm.
and I highly respected him. I looked up to him, this, that, and the other. As a matter of fact, he even got me connected to the lady who hired me on full time because I was there, as a contractor.
Hmm.
And I want to say it was during Kaepernick's first exposure
Oh
to the
yeah.
kneeling,
Right.
and he told me, because I he had made a post on Facebook, and I can't remember exactly what it was, but I was like, dude, where did that come from? Why do why would you say something like that? And then
Right.
he turned around and said, racism and suppression was over in the 60s. This is just unnecessary. People be looking for handouts and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, so you telling me a white man who doesn't live in a black body that suppression, racism, and all the above no longer exist just because a civil rights act was passed? Are you kidding me?
Okay, let me stop you right there. Do you think that was just lack of education and knowledge of what it is to be a black person, or do you think he was just like a just straight up racist and didn't care?
I don't think he's racist. I just
Okay.
think he's extremely ignorant and don't care to know anything else
Okay.
because he was stuck on this is what I think, this is what I know. And just because you haven't um or in your mind you don't think that you have expressed racism towards anybody
Hmm.
doesn't mean that it doesn't exist.
Right.
I tell like I go to a predominantly white church, and
Hmm.
and I was telling another member, I was like, let me tell you something that I had to think about on a daily basis that nobody else has. So we have this thing what we call small groups, and we
Yeah.
meet outside of church, and sometimes we meet in public places, sometimes we meet at somebody's home.
Hmm.
I said, I'll find groups that I'm interested in, but I have to be careful and mindful of where I'm selecting,
Hmm.
because if I'm going to a neighborhood that looks like it's a place that I shouldn't be,
Hmm.
guess who gets followed? Guess who, if I'm having to study this address, I'm before I even get in the car to use GPS, I'm online studying this address and the route so that I'm not driving too slow, I'm not driving too fast. I know every right turn, every left turn, so I can get there. Like I know where I'm going, I'm getting there safe because I have driven through. I love looking at houses, right?
Yeah.
So I
Right.
go to developments, this, that, and the other, and I go through neighborhoods where the houses or 400,000 on up.
Hmm.
I remember driving through this neighborhood, and really it wasn't to look, it was really a shortcut to my neighborhood. Instead
Hmm.
of taking a long ride, it was just a shortcut.
Hmm.
I passed a police officer. I saw him do a 3-point turn,
Wow. Yeah.
came back to follow me, and I'm like, I mean, you can't even speed in the neighborhood. I knew I wasn't going fast. There were stop signs every block. And I was like, what in the world? And so I think he stayed behind me long enough to run my tag and then he left.
Yeah. He never
But
put
I'm
you on,
thinking,
right? He just ran your tag, right?
just ran my
Yeah.
tag.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, okay, if it was my husband, it probably would have been different.
Yeah.
It probably would have just been pulled over,
Right.
or
Right.
whatever. But it's just like little stuff like that that you don't have to think about. It's like, oh, this group sounds good. I'm gonna go there. I had to like, oh, okay, this group is something I think I need, but let me see if I can go there. You know
Wow.
what I'm saying? And then too, I going to church and serving in the ministry or whatever. When things like this have like the George Floyd stuff, like the Kaepernick, like the Mike Brown, like the Trayvon Martin, when you go to a place where you're serving and having to be smiling and greeting the people and this, that, and the other, and you looking at all these people like, it must be nice to live in this little bubble and have to
Right.
come, I have to come and smile and act like my world is fine,
Right.
and smile and love on people, knowing as soon as I walk out that door, I'm back to my world and you guys don't have a care in the world. And when I say don't have a care in the world, I'm not saying that you don't have issues and you have problems because we all do.
Right.
But outside of us sharing the same type of issues, whether it's depression, bad
Mhm.
marriage, trouble kids, this, that, and the other, we have to deal with all of that
Yeah. I
plus
like it.
being black,
Right.
and so it gets a little, you just want to scream, but
Yeah.
you're like, who is going to listen?
Right. Right. Yeah. No. Look, I get it. I mean, I'm tripping because, and I should know this. I mean, I know this goes on. You know what I'm saying? But just to hear it come from you as a black woman, it's like I'm feeling my emotions now. Like I'm feeling sad. I'm feeling pissed off. You know what I'm saying? Because my black women are having to deal with this, and but see that's what kind of led me to create blended lines, was because I knew that all white people weren't bad. All right. And I
Right.
knew
Right.
all white people weren't racist. I knew there were some good
Right.
people out there. And I knew a lot of the issue was that there was a lack of education, only because a lot of white people were coming to me like, Cliff, I want to understand and I want to ask questions, but I'm scared. You know what I'm saying? I'm scared like I'm gonna get
Hmm.
labeled. I'm scared like a black person's gonna cuss me out or I'm gonna say something stupid. And I get that. You know what I'm saying? Because
Right.
I always put myself in other people's shoes. And so I was like, and really it was the Holy Spirit, man, was just like create a group, create a safe place. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Be adamant about safe place, and make sure they understand that you can ask questions here and learn because you're not going to get cussed out or labeled or anything like that. And I'm gonna be honest, man. I created the group on a whim, all right, in one day, and within 2 weeks, it was like already 400 people in it, and then in a month, it was almost at 1,000. And it just showed me that this was something that people were looking for and that was needed. All right. And then, nobody really goes out to their regular Facebook page anymore because my God, man, like I went out there Wednesday, and I think that's what kind of got me in a funk was I went out
Hmm.
there for like 5 minutes, and the amount of hate that was spewing in those posts,
Right.
I think it brought me down. I think it made me feel low. And so honestly, I'm seriously thinking about disabling my regular Facebook page because you and I both know it's gonna get worse. The
Hmm.
closer we get to this election, you go hear racism, you go hear, issues against black women. It's just gonna be a cluster. All right. And I'm very cautious about my eye gate. You know what I'm saying? And letting that negative energy
Hmm.
into my mental. And so, like, I don't watch the news. If something happens, my wife usually will tell me about it. That's big. But other than that, I don't be having a clue what's going on, and I don't want to know
Right.
because most of it is bad anyway, right? Um, do you feel like do you feel optimistic with everything that's going on as far as the changes when it comes to racism and systemic racism, or do you feel pessimistic?
Can I be in the middle?
You can. What that's called is cautiously optimistic.
Yeah. 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 I'm there. I'm cautiously optimistic. Because, well, I guess we're just, this is going to be stages, I guess. Right
Yeah.
now, we're in a stage where people are, I don't, I was about to say thank God for George Floyd, but that's not anything to be thankful for because the man lost his life.
Right.
But because of what happened to him, for some odd reason, even though this has been going on forever, a light bulb went off
Yeah.
and it clicked. And
Yeah.
so now people who were in a place where they like, I'm not racist at all anyway, it was like, I was feeling them, but now I understand. So now I can talk about it. And
Right.
it's okay to talk about it because everybody else is talking about it now.
Right.
And
Right.
so we're just in the stage of uncovering, okay, so let me take you back to, go back 400 years to re educate you on why we are where we are now.
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
Even though we had the civil rights movement and this, that, and the other, okay, we've gotten some rights, but we're still dehumanized. We're
Right.
still not looked at as human. And this is why. So now you hear us. Now it's not a figment of our imagination. We're not just saying, something just to be wasting our breath. We're
Right.
not making anything up. And
Right.
so I like it. I like the fact that people
Amen.
are now open to see what it was that we were talking about and not just, we're here to complain.
Mhm.
Now, what's gonna get me on this the more so on the optimistic side is when I start seeing things change policy wise.
Mhm.
Um, my company, they've been doing some of everything with this inclusion. I mean, it's just like changes all over the board.
Mhm.
But when we start getting to that place, I think I'll be a little more optimistic. But at the same time, it is exposing those who don't care, who
Mhm.
want things to be the way they are, don't want change, want to remain in a place of hate, even though they don't think they're in a place of hate.
Right.
And I feel like that is going to magnify,
Yeah.
more. So
Yeah.
it's like things are going to everything when changes come, sometimes it gets worse before it gets better. Just like when
Yeah.
you're remodeling the house,
Yeah.
it's going to look bad, but in the end, it's going to be beautiful. And
Right.
so, I'm just trying to prepare myself if we're not already in it for the ugly remodeling phase.
I 100% agree with everything you just said, man. 100%. I was I am also cautiously optimistic. Um Hell, I remember in the beginning after when it was all unfolding, I was nervous to get optimistic. I was pessimistic and was like, man, I'm not finna get happy because we've been down this road before.
Hmm.
They'll say, hey, this is wrong. We need to change. Let's sing Kumbaya. And then, like, some months later, everything is like back to normal.
Right.
And the thing that gave me hope this time was the number of white people that were just coming out the woodworks like pissed. And I could tell like it wasn't no BS. They were mad.
Right. It was genuine.
They
Yeah.
were genuine. And I was like,
Yeah.
whoa, this is weird. Like, because I had already said in order for us to make any progress, white people are gonna have to get pissed off and start having a
Mhm.
voice. That's when things
Right.
happen, unfortunately. And so when that started happening, I was like, okay, well, maybe we will get a little further here. Then when I created blended lines and I start seeing more on a intimate level by talking to them every day and seeing where their head was at, I was like, okay, this is good. You know what I'm saying? Because they genuinely want to learn. A lot have admitted that they've been in a bubble and they had no idea. Like my neighbor, he's white, guy around my age, maybe a little younger. I was at the mailbox one day. He just walked over and apologized and was like, "Look, Cliff, I had no idea, man. Like the way I was raised, I was in a bubble. I didn't know about redlining. I didn't know about, how they
Mm.
wasn't giving black people money to buy houses. I didn't know what
Right.
white was. And this dude is very honest. So he wasn't lying. Like he was in a bubble and he didn't know how to take it, knowing all of this madness was going on outside of his bubble. And so that's when I was like, okay, man, I think we're gonna make some progress here. Will anything truly change? That's still yet to be determined. And I
Hmm.
do agree. I think it's gonna get a lot uglier before it gets better. But I also appreciate the fact, as you said, you now have the people, you can clearly see the people who are full of hate,
Hmm.
who do
Right.
not want to learn,
Right.
who don't give a rip about what you're going through. I love that. Because now I know where to keep you, which is at base.
Right.
You
Right.
know what I'm saying? Yeah. Don't
Right.
even come my way because I don't want nothing to do with you. So that's been a blessing. But unfortunately, we're gonna have to stick together, which is why I'm preparing blended lines now, man. I had to get out there yesterday because politics is starting to get real heavy, in the group. And I
Hmm.
decided we go talk about it because it's wrapped in there with racism. And if we want to get rid of racism, we got to talk about politics, right? But I had to get kind of stern with my voice, like, look, man, I'm going to protect this safe space, and if you come in here
Right.
trying to troll or get crazy, you gonna be straight booted real quick. Even though we friends, I'm gonna boot you.
Yeah.
So, but well, and I haven't done this before, but to any black women out there who are discouraged or struggling right now, what advice or what encouragement would you give them?
Call on each other. Look to each other for um getting uplifted. And I have like my girl Adrian, I know she's watching it now. She is like my ace, my go-to, my ride or die. Is like we can call on each other without judgment, and we can vent. But by the time we end our conversation, we're both at a better place. We're at peace.
Mm,
And because I don't want to sound like a broken record, and saying, make sure you because everybody's not Christian, but
right,
I lean on God, number
right,
one. But I also know that I'm not meant to do this alone.
right.
And so that's
Right.
why I make sure I have this circle that I can
Mhm.
depend on. So when I get to a place of discouragement, when I get to a place of brokenness, we can take turns tagging to
Right.
help each other out. So, when I'm down here and you're up here, you can help bring me on up, and I do the same for you.
Absolutely.
And just know that I always I know I love to reiterate the power of words.
Right.
So I try to, even though I say I'm cautiously optimistic about this thing, I always try to look at things in the eyes through the eyes of God.
Hmm.
I don't get it all the time, you
Right.
know.
Trust me, I know.
Yeah, because I'm telling you, I was trying to love on people, but some of them
Yeah.
just give me yeast infections, and I just can't deal. And I just, I have to
Woo.
just let it go. But
Right. Right.
I just try not to take everything personally if I
Yeah.
can,
Yeah.
if I can, and know that it's not about me. You acting out on me is a heart issue that you have,
Right.
that you got to deal with.
Right.
And and I want to say to other Black women too, you don't have to be strong 24/7.
That's good.
So stop acting like you have to.
Right.
If you need your moments to be weak, if you need your moments to release, then you do that.
Hmm.
Call me. I'll
Hmm.
cry with you. I'll
Right.
cuss with you. Let's get it all out. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But you don't have to be this person that people are expecting you to be every day. You're
Man,
not a doormat.
that is so good, Tiki. And I think that should go to for everybody because
Everybody. Yeah.
like me myself was a perfectionist and I was just always striving to be perfect, man. And I just can't tell you how detrimental that was to my mental health, and now
Yeah.
I just try to do the best I can. And even with my wife, man, as strong as she is, there have been a couple of times where she cried on my shoulder, because you got to get it out, man.
Hmm.
Everybody can't be strong all the time. Like you said, that is great advice, man. It really is. And look, I told you the interviews go quick. We already at 12:58, so we at the
Yeah.
end, girl. But this interview was amazing. All right. Yeah, and I'm not just saying that, man. You gave a lot of wisdom, and that's what I was telling you in the group. I was like, look, I got to get you on the interview because you got some wisdom, girl. So thank you for putting that wisdom out there. Thank you for being a voice for Black women. And also, after the interview, make sure you put your workout information out there because a lot of people are wanting to get in on your workout stuff, man. And I love that because, again, guys, we got to be strong mentally and physically to go to war because we in war right now. All right.
Right.
So
Right.
don't get it twisted. We in war and you need to be in the best shape mentally and physically. All right. So y'all holler at Tiki. She'll get you in shape. Somebody said they wanted to lose 35 pounds in a month. I don't know who that was, but
Don't do that. That's not healthy.
hey,
And guess what? If you lose 35 pounds in a month, you're gonna gain 60 in 2
yeah,
months.
right.
So
Hey, I wanted to say, unless you want to go on a crack diet, okay, we don't want
no.
to do that. Right. Well, look,
Uh,
girl, hey, I love you, man. I appreciate you. Give me some right here.
yeah. And thank you for everything. Thank you for this group. Thank
Mhm,
you for, I know what it takes to run a group. I've done it before.
mhm,
And so my hat goes off to you Thank
Thank
you
you.
for being the moderator
Thank
and taking things. And I know you're passionate about it. But at the same time, we grown folk, so
Right.
don't um don't let it get to you too much. When it seems like it's getting out of hand or whatever.
Yeah.
Just keep doing what you're doing. I appreciate
Yeah.
this place, this safe place. And like I said, I'm grown. I know how to keep scrolling. I
Yeah.
know how to just write one word and
Right.
keep going or whatever. So
Right.
thank you for that. Thank you for pushing me to come out. It was fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
And stuff. So, but
Well,
I enjoyed it. Thank you.
you know how I am about comfort zones, man. The only way that you can grow is to get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It sucks, but it makes you so much better. So, and I appreciate that wisdom, man. It is a lot taking care of the group. Thank God I have a great admin team, and I'm not gonna lie, I get a little frustrated, man, with the
Hmm.
politics thing, and and people get pissed off so fast. And it's like you said, just keep scrolling. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
allow any disrespectful stuff, but the moment that you give somebody power over your emotions like that, you done already lost. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
Right.
well, all right, girl, we appreciate you and thank you again. And I'm gonna have to get you back on another interview in the near future, man. All right.
Okay, that's cool. I enjoyed it. Thank you.
All right, girl. Well, have a good one. All right. Have a good
All
weekend.
right,
Okay.
you. All right, you do as well. Thanks.
Bye bye.
Okay. Bye bye.